Have you ever asked an AI about, I don't know, last night's game, and it just gives you a blank stare? Well, today we are pulling back the curtain on the secret to connecting these amazing models to the live, ever-changing internet so they stay relevant and, actually accurate.
We've all been there, right? You ask an AI a question about something that just happened, and it either says, I don't know, or way worse, it just makes stuff up. But what if I told you the problem isn't some deep flaw in the AI itself? What if it's all about the stale, outdated diet of data it's being forced to live on?
And this gets us right to the heart of the matter, something the industry calls the AI hunger problem. It's a massive challenge, really, at the very core of making modern AI work. Okay, so think about it like this. An LLM is trained on this gigantic library of books, right? But all of those books were published a year ago. It's an absolute genius about the past, but it's completely clueless about what's happening right now. The web is a flowing river, and a static data set, that's just a single old photograph of it.
And this quote from a recent report just nails it. The speed of change online is just relentless. I'm talking product prices, news headlines, whether something's in stock, that can all change in minutes. An AI that can't see that live information is an AI that's already fallen behind.
So, what are the obvious fixes? Well, you could just retrain the entire model with new data. But that is incredibly expensive and super slow. The other thought is old-school web scraping. Just set it on a timer. But that's like taking those random photos of the river. You're going to miss most of what's actually going on and waste a ton of resources just capturing stuff that hasn't even changed.
So if retraining is just too slow, and that old way of scraping as well too dumb, what's the answer? How do we actually build a data pipeline for AI that we can rely on?
The answer is in this really elegant solution called the Retrieval Augmented Generation Pipeline, or for short, RAG. And trust me, it's a total game changer. It's how we turn the chaotic, messy web into a structured knowledge base that AI can actually use.
RAG is the bridge. That's the best way to think about it. Instead of just relying on its old, baked-in memory from training, the LLM basically gets a live library card. So now, before it answers your question, it can go and look up the latest, most relevant info from a source you give it, like a web page you just scraped.
This whole pipeline, it's like a data refinery. It starts with raw, messy HTML. Then, it gets scraped and cleaned into simple text. After that, it's chunked into smart, logical paragraphs. Then, and this is the cool part, each of those chunks is converted into a unique numerical fingerprint, a vector that captures its meaning. And finally, all those vectors are stored in a special database, creating this super efficient searchable library of knowledge.
Okay, so we've built the pipeline. Now let's see this thing in action. What's the actual payoff look like in the real world?
So let's pretend we just scraped an e-commerce site that sells some weird novelty drinks. Our LLM has never heard of this stuff. It has zero prior knowledge. We're going to send this simple question to our brand new RAG system.
And boom, there it is, a perfect, factually correct answer. The system went into the vector database, found the exact right chunk of text, fed it to the LLM as context, and then generated the answer based on that ground truth. No guessing, no hallucinating, just the facts.
And this is really important, this goes way beyond just simple Q&A. We can give the LLM much more complex jobs to do. Here, we're not just asking it to read the info, we're telling it to structure all the product data it finds into a clean JSON format.
And this just shows you the real power here. It's amazing. The RAG system automatically parsed, processed, and structured all that messy web content into a perfect, ready-to-use data set. This is what turns the LLM from just a clever chatbot into an autonomous data processing engine.
So, as you can see, this whole RAG pipeline thing is incredibly powerful. But its success all comes down to one thing: the quality and the reliability of the data you feed it. And that brings us to the engineering side of things.
Now, when you start building these pipelines, you're probably going to run into two big frameworks, Llama Index and LangChain. The easy way to think about it is Llama Index is your go-to for simpler RAG setups. It's awesome for getting data in and indexed fast. LangChain, on the other hand, that's your toolkit for building more complex, modular apps, maybe even systems with multiple AI agents working together.
If you take only one single thing away from this explainer, please let it be this. The whole industry is starting to figure out that the biggest jumps in AI performance aren't coming from slightly better models. They're coming from feeding these models significantly better data.
So what does better data even mean? Well, it really just comes down to three things, the three pillars. First, accuracy. The data has to be a perfect mirror of what's on the website, no errors. Second, freshness. It has to reflect the web as it is right now, not 5 minutes ago. And finally, consistency. The format has to be rock solid every single time so your app doesn't break. If you nail these three, you're building a production-ready AI.
So let's end on this thought. Instead of spending all our energy trying to tweak prompts, trying to find the magic words to get a better answer, the real work, the important work, is engineering a robust, reliable data pipeline. That is how you build an AI system that you can actually trust.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive. If this explainer was helpful, if it made things click for you, do us a favor and pay it forward. Share it with a friend, and definitely hit that like button.
We're a new channel, and we've got a pretty humble goal right now. We just want to reach our first 10 subscribers. Your support would seriously mean the world to us and help us make more explainers just like this one.
And hey, if we can hit that number by January 31st, 2026, we promise we will host a live introductory session to dive even deeper into all these topics with you. Thanks so much for watching.